guys, we are just a couple days into spring and it is the perfect time to start talking kokanee. So many of our lakes are going to start to warm up here. This is a great chance to get all your gear ready and get set up for a great spring. Today we're going to talk about Kokanee Rod Selection. And really I want to make a point here that you don't need a ton of specialized gear. There's stuff that definitely helps you catch more fish, but really you can already use the rod you currently have, whether it's a light action salmon or steelhead. You get away with your spinning rods that you use for trout. All that stuff will work. But what we're going to cover today really goes into detail of the types of rods that will help you land more fish. Kokanee are notorious for pulling hooks out right next to the boat because of their soft mouths. And the rods that are being made nowadays for kokanee specifically help you land more fish because they act as one big rubber band. Really slow action rods with a lot of bend in them help you keep those hooks in the fish and put more in the boat. So what we're going to cover today is a couple types of rods that you can get in terms of the way their action is and the types of rods. And there are so many manufacturers out there, guys, that make great products. Today I currently have my velocity setups. That's what I run in my boats, but you're open to choose whatever you would like. You can go the cheaper routes of doing some great rods. There's a lot out there. You can go to the super expensive. It's all what you want to do. But the basics all come back to these three types essentially. So that's what I'm going to cover today is some types of rods for kokanee. And we'll first start out with an ultralight version. This type of rod really gives you a full flex feel and really puts the fight into those fish. Maybe you have a lake that has notorious for 10-inch kokanee. Well, a heavy-duty rod, it's not so much fun to fight those. You're just going to reel them in without even really knowing they're there. These light-action rods, like this one's a Velocity, and this is the JMJ 792 Light. And you can see here with the action, it's going to be full tip, super parabolic, but it will bend all the way back to the cork on a bigger fish. When you load this up in your downrigger, it's really going to give you that action, but because that tip is so soft, those fish really have a hard time pulling off. You can really play them out, tire them out away from the boat, and then bring them in close. So this is something that I love fishing for maybe a smaller strain of kokanee, or somewhere that I know that may not have a lot of big other encounter fish, like big trout or whatever else you may have. But this really is a great rod all around for kokanee. So that's the ultralight size. Now then you can step it up for something that has a little bit more backbone into this. This happens to be a fiberglass rod. Really nice. I love this one for a top line rod. Now, you could use the ultralight for a top line too, but you have to keep in mind that the dodger weight that you're using can impact the way that that rod handles. You can overload it too much, it doesn't work as well. Something like this one, a fiberglass, it still has the full parabolic bend, super flexible. I love this one to use as the top rod when I'm stacking on a downrigger. This one ends up allowing me a little bit more freedom because of its length. This one happens to be a 7.9 as well. But what it does is it allows you to get a little bit more room outside the boat, the same flexibility to play your fish, but has a little bit more backbone for something more of your normal size kokanee, which I would say anywhere from 12 to 14 inches. This works great. Again, you can get away with that for the ultralight, but you have a little bit more play on this one to feel that you're secure. Big trout, not a problem with this. This happens to be, again, a velocity rod. We start going into our last section. And like I said, keep in mind more to this in regards to the type of rods, not necessarily the brand. This one's going to end up having a little bit more of the backbone. It's a little bit sturdier in the back, but still has your very flexible tip section. And I love this one for if I'm going to encounter bigger kokanee, I'm running this one at Lake Roosevelt. I'm running this one at Flaming Gorge. I know that if I get a Chinook salmon like I did last year fishing Lake Chelan, I don't have to worry about this. I can play them all day long. Happened to be over 7 pounds. Really beautiful fish. This rod held up great. And this is the Ninja Kokanee Rod from Velocity. But basically what this is, as I said, bigger backbone, same good, solid, flexible tip section to play those fish out. So really, it all depends on where you're fishing, and for how big of a fish you're going for is what's going to dictate the rods that you select. And then comes with rods, you have to pair a reel that's going to be matching to the rod itself. Now, I have an Abu Garcia Black Max on here, a very inexpensive basic reel, but just as a workhorse. You can set these up on your boat. A lot of them now don't cost very much. They're under $50, I believe. So a very cost-effective way to put these up on your boat, and they're really a great reel to have. They're a low profile, fits really well in your hand, fits well on all these rods, but it's all preference to what you want to do. Because when you start fishing lakes that have a lot deeper water, your line capacity on a low profile reel may not be as great as something like, let's say, more to this, which is a Velocity Warrior that holds a little bit more line. You can get over 100 yards of 10-pound test on this one, which is I have here. It looks like you get 160 yards of 10-pound test. 12-pound test, you get 140. So you have a little bit more room to play. And I run these on Chelan and some of my deeper places because if I have to go over 100 feet deep, you're then running really low on your potential line there. If you hook a bigger fish, you may not be able to catch up to him. So something with a little bit more line capacity, and still, this one happens to be a round size reel. Fits well in your hand, balances the rod. That's what you have to figure out is what you want, what works best for you. There's a lot of brands out there for reels, for rods. They all work great, but you have to figure out what's best for you. But Kokanee, essentially what you're trying to do accomplish-wise is get a light action rod that allows you to absorb the hook set, absorb the fight, so that fish stays on the line more, and a reel that's going to balance that rod out. And I highly suggest going to one of your local tackle shops and playing around with the gear. They are so knowledgeable, and I would recommend doing that because you can pick out, oh, I want to try this rod. I can set up with whatever reel that I want. Oh, that feels great. And they'll suggest a lot of the stuff too. So within a budget, if you have, you can easily match that out. I'm going to be doing a video here soon on how to fish kokanee on a budget, but really the basics of this all apply. So hope this helps you guys for some rod selection for kokanee. There's going to be so much more coming soon, and really we're at the start of finally some warmer weather coming our way. So I know it's going to start happening real soon. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Rick down with Moly Outdoors signing off. Take care and fish on.